All right, I forget what episode this is. 9? Holy crap! All right, cool.
Wow.
Welcome
That's
to
my
the
favorite number.
9.
If it really is 9, that's crazy.
It is number 9,
Wow,
right?
I love that.
Is it number 9? Yeah, I think it is. Is that your soccer number?
I have it tattooed twice on my body.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hot one, baby. Episode 9 of the episodes with Anthony Fiume, one of my best friends in the whole world.
Love
Good
you,
to
brother.
see you. Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
We go back all the way to my freshman year of college
Yes.
at Hofstra University.
Which was my sophomore year of college, I
Yes,
believe, right?
yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I was a little freshman, and my roommate was hometown buddies with you,
Joey.
We met and hit it off immediately because we were both trying to make film and television.
Thought you were going to say something else, but yes, we were also we were also both doing that. Yes.
We had a lot of fun. That's that one semester. For those of you that don't know, I went to college for one semester.
Yes.
Was promptly kicked out because I spent my entire college loan on absolute bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I remember being surprised that they just gave you all the money.
They gave me all the money, buddy, in a check.
Mine didn't work out that way. I don't know how that happened. I was like, if they gave me that, because it's not your fault. You're an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, I was 18.
We were all like, Matt's got the cash.
yeah. I was. It was insane. I was just running through thousands of dollars in one semester. I can't believe that actually happened.
Yeah.
It was a real thing. They just gave me the whole loan. And they said, go ahead, buddy. And I didn't pay for school. I thought it was like a clerical error in my favor. I thought Hofstra messed up and gave me a free semester of college. And
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Being like, dude, I don't think I have to pay.
But they got me. They sent me a letter. They were like, hey, you forgot to pay for your whole semester of school. And then I had to go home with my tail betwixt my legs and explain what I have done. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
We had a great time that semester.
Great time.
We remained friends for many years. I would go back to Hofstra. We'd have a great time. And we made some things.
Yeah.
We made some art.
Yes, we did. We made some fun stuff.
We did. Remember Pussy Breath?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do. That went. I mean, that was our most viral piece together at least. I think.
Because it was so viral that it had to get taken down.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I think it might still be up on Newgrounds
it's
or
on
something like that. E-Bombs World.
Yeah. That's how you know you made it.
That's how you know you made it.
When it's on E-Bombs World.
When you're banned from YouTube.
Yeah. So that was a very fun thing we made. And then we tried to make a production company website. We didn't really know what it was yet, called Kickback Online.
Yeah. We were ahead of our time.
We were. We made a podcast before it was a podcast.
Yes.
Before there were podcasts, we made a live streaming. It's so annoying.
It was called a live radio show, but it was like this.
Show. Yeah. And there
live.
there was little webcams. And I remember going to the meeting and being like, hey, what if it wasn't live? What if we just recorded it and then people could watch it whenever they wanted?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it has to be live. It's part of the thing.
That was the thing. But also shout out to TJ Ian for giving us that opportunity.
Oh, 100%. That was so
That was
cool.
a springboard too.
Yeah.
That Liquid Lightning relationship.
That Liquid Lightning.
I don't even know if that
was an
brand
energy drink
anymore.
If Red Bull gives you wings, Liquid Lightning gave you a heart attack. Yeah. Red Bull gives you wings. Liquid Lightning turned you into a dragon. You could literally fly and spit fire at the same time.
Yeah.
That energy drink was insane. I don't know how many milligrams of caffeine were in it, but it was for sure poison.
Thank God we were 23.
Yeah. Were we that old?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So we get this, whatever. That was so fun. And then we tried to make this website, production company called Kickback Online.
Well, we made it. We made it. We made the site and the company.
For sure.
Whether or not we made it.
Right. We were trying to do too much.
I think so. We had high ambitions.
We were such ambitious kids.
And we were also decently high.
Yes, we were high out of our mind, and we had high ambitions.
Yeah.
And we were having so much fun. You were living in my basement. We were both living in my basement.
Yeah, that was a time.
That was a time. One of my favorite memories ever. We went to Home Depot to get hangers.
I was literally just going to tell the hanger story.
And we go to Home Depot, and they got all these hangers. And we were like, how many should we buy? And we were like, I don't know, man, 25? Like, it's not like a hanger breaks. We get back to the basement, and you would like put something on a hanger, it snapped right away. And we're like, oh, I guess hangers do break.
So yes, how it went was, I was like, I had never seen a hanger break in my life.
Yeah.
And you were like, bro, hangers break, bro. And I was like, nah, they definitely don't break. And it was one of those useless combos that went on. And then we got back, and I broke the first hanger of my life. Of course.
And now, to this day, anytime I break a hanger, I take a picture and send it to you, because it was such like the fight it wasn't a fight, it was like an argument in Home Depot, but it lasted way too long. Way too long. We were like, hangers break. No, they don't. And then first thing we get home, hanger breaks. So we're living in the basement, making content.
That was my first experience ever living amongst vegans as well.
Yes, my sister, and James was living there too. Yeah. They were both vegans, and they were cooking weird shit in the basement, man.
Veganism wasn't at where it's at today.
No.
The available options were not quite the same.
And they were hardcore. They were eating like soba noodles and fucking pea protein. I remember my sister had this travel cutlery set made of like wood, because she was trying to preserve plastic, and she would carry around like a metal straw and bamboo utensils. Good for her.
I respect that she was ahead of her time.
Oh, Marlena's always been ahead of the curve. Yeah. But she was a vegan. That was 12, 13 years ago. That is cool.
Yeah.
Did you say ahead of the curve?
Ahead of the curve? Curve. It's curved?
It's curve.
Yeah, I said curb.
Did you say curb?
Yeah.
Ahead of the curb. Hey, she's in these streets.
With ahead of the curb. That's a new. That's going to be a new thing.
I like that.
Thank you.
I do. So then because we did Kickback, which the whole premise of it was to combine entertainment with education too, right? We were saying how we could kind of give back and make fun stuff at the same time. It didn't have to be. Yeah. Remember, we had an idea about like I don't know if we ever made it, but if you like, I don't remember. I don't even want to say it. It doesn't matter. The idea is fucking stupid.
Remember that idea we had? It was fucking dumb.
But and then my friend Brandon hit me up about us applying our formula of combining entertainment with education for brain injuries for kids in sports.
Specifically from football, right?
From football, because they had just discovered at the time CTE.
Yeah. And so I was running a show at the old Eastville Comedy Club, and we started making these Save Your Brain merch to raise money for CTE research.
Yeah.
And it was a very cool shirt. It said Save Your Brain. And what was the wristband was like cheeky?
Yeah, it said We Love Brain.
We Love Brain.
We had shirts that say We Get Brain.
We Get Brain.
Yeah, we were young kids trying to we were like, how could we get, teenagers, young athletes to care about like brain injuries? That's not a very like cool topic. And so we used celebrities and funny catchphrases that like their parents didn't understand to kind of help grab their attention a little bit and talk about it. So that was cool.
So we're doing all that. Everything's going great. We're having a great time. And then, my brain broke a little bit, which was ironic to say the least. We're trying to do all this mental health awareness. And, we weren't aware that I had an issue at the time.
Yeah.
And I have these weird memories of like, my dad kicked me out of the car and we're like driving around for like a whole night. Do you remember that night in your Toyota Camry, the blue one?
So, yeah, after you got kicked out of the house.
Yes.
Yes, I do. I do remember. I remember there was a weekend, because it was all kind of a culminating weekend right up to, and I think you might have discussed this in the previous episodes, that Eastville night, right,
of the show. Yeah, I've talked about the Eastville night.
Because I think that whole series, that night when you got kicked out, I think was right before that. I think it was that weekend, if I remember.
I think the show might have been on a Sunday, and all that happened like Thursday, Friday. The car shit.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember my dad was like, "You're acting weird. I'm kicking you out of the house."
Yeah, I actually now, as you saying that, I'm visualizing being in my car out in front of your house.
Yeah.
And then just sitting there and you being like, dude, my dad just like kicked me out. And we were both living there at the time too.
Yeah.
So it was definitely, we were just like, all right, let's
roll.
Let's just roll. Let's just see where we're going to go.
Yeah, I remember sparking our last blunt because we had no money.
Right.
And I remember being like, should we light this? Should we save it? And you were like, fuck it, man. You just got kicked out. We have nowhere to go.
Let's do it.
We might as well smoke this blunt.
Yeah. Yeah, we might as well do it. We were smoking blunts at the time still,
blunts,
too. That's a good like time check reference of what era it was.
I know.
Wow.
And, the science is not out on that yet, the blunts. We're the first generation that's going to
see what happens.
The data, they didn't do enough research.
A lot of tobacco in those.
I mean, it's a $1 cigar.
Yeah.
You shouldn't smoke a $1 cigar all the time.
You should, probably never.
Probably never.
But also, no. So that was definitely a moment where and at the time though. And I was just thinking about this earlier too. I didn't quite connect. Nothing was connecting yet that this would be tied. Like the dad getting kicked out thing had nothing to do in my mind with you not being okay, right?
Yeah.
We were out and about. We were just being, The thing about it is that in that point in our lives, we had we really did have a delusional confidence in us. We really
100%.
were wilding out. And so a lot of that behavior wasn't really nothing. The earlier stuff we couldn't really tell or see. So your dad getting kicked out, I was like, oh,
he doesn't
parents
get
don't
it.
Understand. He doesn't get it. You know what I mean? I get it. It is what it is. He's trying to do tough love. We'll figure it out and show him. Just like we'll show my parents who don't understand. Just like everyone. Same.
Yeah, that is a
thing.
great point, man. We had to be delusional to achieve our dreams or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And we were high most of the day. That's another thing that I feel like weed gives you as great as it is for medicinal purposes, and for some people, sometimes it can get a little bit away from you, and you can go, oh, maybe these thoughts are not as rational as I think that they are.
Yeah.
So that there's certainly something to be said for that.
Definitely.
So you're at this point, nothing is clicking that there might be something wrong mentally with me.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
Nothing at all. But you're also, because in that same week, you were also having problems with your ex at the time.
Yes.
And so in my mind, I'm just like, damn.
He's going through it.
And I'm also like, how is Matt's dad going to kick him out the same week? Obviously he's going through it. I don't know if you guys had already broken up or if it was already but you were in the fucking trenches with that. And so then it was and then I was like, damn, now he's getting kicked out too. I was like, this is a lot. So then everything that happened after those two things up until obviously the night of Eastville was me just thinking in the beginning, all right, Matt's going through it. It's a breaking point. I could only imagine getting kicked out of your house and breaking up with your girl at the same time. Sitting here retrospectively now, I obviously can say it's not like you didn't get kicked out and break up and then the breakdown happened. It was obviously things were going on in your mind that caused those other two events, right?
Yes.
And so obviously, preaching to the choir here, but that was like an interesting realization when I was thinking back on it.
Yeah. I mean, we're not doctors, to diagnose your friend would be that wouldn't make sense. And we were just young, running with an idea, trying to conquer the world kids, like we're not going to let anything get in the way. And yeah, I remember we printed those shirts, the Save Your Brain shirts, and there was like a smudge on one. And I was like in this print
poor
shop,
lady.
this poor lady, yelling at her, berating her that we wanted our money back. And that
was the first sign. I remember I had to take you outside. Brandon looked at me and was like, "Yo, is that?" Because he didn't know you as well, and so he was like, "Is that just like how?" And I remember being like, "Maybe this shit's just building up. He needs a breather. He's taking out the Jamie and the dad stuff on. And I'm like, let's just go outside." And then the energy kept on ramping up, and so like. I wasn't really still thinking mental health yet, but I'm just like, all right, I think maybe the pressure of the show, right? Because it's also a big show. That was a big show that we were doing a fundraiser combined with the comedy show.
Yeah.
So, we tried to do the timeout. But that was like definitely the first time that I witnessed any behavior that like, because the girlfriend stuff and the dad stuff, I wasn't personally witnessing whatever that confrontation was.
Right.
So I didn't even, you were still not, we didn't have the confrontation or anything yet.
No, we were yeah. And then I remember was there an ex-Jets player at the show? Wasn't there some ex-football player?
Maybe.
That came to the show and I got into it with him?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. But there was other like Jets affiliations at the time, and I'm not sure. I might be crossing wires too, but it was a hazy time.
It was a hazy time, and I remember yelling at this poor guy. I was just yelling at people.
Yeah. Just
screaming at people.
Yeah.
And so embarrassing looking back on it.
We almost lost a friend's dog.
Right. That really sent us to a dark place.
I remember being in the elevator of that apartment building, just
someone's
being
apartment for like an hour.
Yeah, I was just like, "What are we gonna do? We just lost this girl's dog."
Yeah,
I don't even know.
And I'm on the phone screaming at someone,
with veins coming. I'm like, all right, that's what I'm like. So, and you were saying wild shit too. I don't know if I've ever told you like what you actually said to me in that like moment too. I remember in that apartment, but it was some shit where I knew I was like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And there was always like a little bit of a grain of truth to some of the things that you were saying. So there was like a little bit, but then for the most part, it was obviously just exaggerated stuff. But because I was always the ally up until a certain point when I was like, bro, you gotta like, something's up. You gotta like chill. And then you were like, he's the enemy now too. He's not on my side.
Yeah. That's a real thing.
And so all of a sudden you were like, started talking to me like you had never talked to me before. And I was like, bruh, is this what we're doing right now? Like, I just remember being like, then I was like, this can't be actually real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it can't, or my meaning, like, the real Matt. Like, I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is I didn't know what bipolar was. Like, I think but at that time, I definitely was someone who was under the impression bipolar meant I'm happy sometimes, I'm sad sometimes. Or, I didn't know what that could mean. So I was like, Matt's just really it's a mental breakdown would have been the phrase that I would have used at the time, right? But that was
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, no, it's obviously was an interesting moment.
I remember screaming at my mom in a car, just being in a car screaming at people.
I remember you like called Vinny's mom and like I think you were talking about how like he always like smoked in the garage or something like that.
Oh my God.
Like yeah, there was. That's why when by the time you got to me, I was like, all right, he's just on a warpath. Like I didn't even take it personal. I was still just like, how can we just like stop this train? Because something is.
I remember,
you
also at the Eastville show, somebody was hosting. I think it was Dan Frigolette.
Okay.
And he was annoying me or getting under my skin, and Schultz popped in just to like see how the show was, like, to like get maybe a spot. And I was like, hey man, do you want to host? Because like in the middle of the show, I was like, I'm gonna change host. He's pissing me off. And Dan was like, what, do you want to fight right now? Like, what's going on? I was like, go get my dad. I will knock you out in front of my dad. And it was just like, I was a storm. No one could get out of my way.
I know.
It was intense.
But it was also, and what was also similar to, just to give like you were killing it though, right? So like you were on a tear, and so it was also easy for people to attribute it to you just being now over. Some people were just like, oh, Matt thinks he's just like too good, right? Like, because if you were bad at comedy, it wouldn't have, some people it might not have clicked, but people let it go for a little bit because they're like, oh, maybe it's just getting to his head. Maybe he's just like so good that he thinks he deserves more and all of that stuff. Versus if you were a bad comedian, people would have immediately been like, this guy's fucking crazy. Sorry, I try not to use that word anymore. Obviously, one of the things that I'm, but like
you weren't saying it as you were saying it as
2011 Anthony. 2011, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also, you said someone might say it wasn't you.
It wouldn't have been me, right? Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. But yeah, no, and so that I think that also was why it really took.
For the record, I was not good at comedy yet. I was very new. But I mean, I know what you mean. Like,
you could see it. You could see it. People knew that you were one of the funniest people that they had ever met, right? So it's like, it is what it is, right? And so people will be like, oh, this kid really is gonna, and then you were doing the acting as well.
Yeah,
so
I was booking some stuff.
But
it's such a culmination of fuckery, really.
Yeah. So it's tough, but that's why we didn't even that night until I still wouldn't have known, and then I don't know how, or if you want to still talk. I know you already talked about that night, but then there was. What was the club that you wanted to go to?
Greenhouse.
Oh my God, Greenhouse. Holy shit.
Yeah. People showed up.
The bottles at Greenhouse. It was a thing. And then I remember at the time, I was still trying to be like, all right, I got to be on his side because he's saying fuck everyone. I don't know what to do. So I was still trying to be like, all right, maybe we could get to Greenhouse somehow. Like, I was like, oh my God. What are we going to do at Greenhouse?
We had no money.
And I was like, I was also like, how do we have the money
thousands of
bottles
dollars
at Greenhouse?
It was crazy. We shouldn't say crazy, but it was.
It was wild. And so I remember then someone put you in a car though, and at one point your dad, and then
the rest, is has been talked about.
Exactly. But that was a moment, man.
Yeah,
that was a moment.
Well, I hope. We've obviously come a long way in our understanding of it, and it must be so frustrating for you to still see me have these bouts of mania, because I know for whatever reason you're one of the people like I gravitate to when I am ramping up, as they say on Dave. So I don't know if that's just me being more social, or me attributing a time that I felt like that before and wanting to, I feel great. Anthony will understand this, but, it must really suck to not see me for a long time and then get a call and then we hang out and you see me, obviously not in a good state.
I I will say that it doesn't. I mean, obviously, it just like sucks in general, but it sucks more so for you. Like I feel it as, but my frustration isn't even for myself. I mean, we've talked about this years ago, where I told you how like at a point in the beginning, I did. Even thinking back on it, I felt selfish, even thinking about how it affected me. I remember being like, damn, that was the hardest time in my life when you went through that stuff. And I was like, but how selfish of me to say that was the hardest time of my life.
No,
when
man.
you were the one, you know what I mean, going through it as well. Like
I was the one that was in the psych ward, sure, but
to watch someone you care about going through that, and like we were, like you said, we were like fucking everything,
every waking moment we were together. Yeah.
And so that was tough, and then but
that just goes to show you how destructive this disorder can be, man. It doesn't just affect one person; it affects the whole family, the whole friendship, the whole. So many people are affected by it. It's
and then in the beginning, when nobody knew what was going on, I remember that first time in the hospital, in the waiting room, and then the way your family looked at me too, because at the time. They didn't.
Bad influence.
They were right. It was like the weed. It was the because I understand wholeheartedly, right? Why you don't want to think your kid is going through something or has that thing. You want to find something. So it's totally, I love your family again, and I know that they love me. So I'm not like, it's not like that. But I just remember that feeling in that moment of being like, I want to be here for Matt, but he's locked behind that door. And I don't know if the people that are here want me to be here also. Yeah. So that part was an interesting dynamic that I'm sure other people could, and I don't say this to say like, so for anybody else that's listening who might be in support, knowing that it's not like, still be there too though, because people might want to think they're going to look for places to blame, and don't take it like as a personal thing, because it's their kid and they're trying to figure out what's going on with their kid.
That's almost a great bar just in general for someone struggling with bipolar, is like, don't take it personally. This person is going to say horrible things, and like you said, there seems like a smidge of truth in a lot of the stuff. Yeah. But like, it's not it's, I love you so much. Like, I would never intentionally hurt you or say something to hurt you, but that is something that I do when I'm like that. So like, not taking things personally is a hard thing to do, obviously. Like, it's easy to say, oh, don't take it personally when someone you love is screaming at you and saying the meanest thing they could think of. But, it is in fact true.
No, yeah, it's a part of it. But yeah, for what it's worth, going back to even when you say like how you gravitate towards me when in those moments too, I think it does relate back to that time though, when I did try to be like, I always felt like for whatever reason, even if I could be like the right amount of enabler where you would still trust me, and once I knew, right? Like in the beginning, it was just like but like once, like I remember there was a time when you came and you stayed at my apartment, and I remember I was texting with Katie, and we were like trying to coordinate just to make sure we had you good, but we were like rolling up, freestyling, rapping, doing everything, because I was like, if I could keep him here, I know I can keep him safe, right? Yeah. Yes, it might not be the ideal healing environment, but if I let him leave this door, who knows where he will go, right? And so I might as well do what I can do, the right amount of just, bad, like, let's do it. Let's make this album. Let's all that stuff. Which, by the way, I've heard you talk down upon your desire to rap, because I know that there's a certain, but you also are a good like writer and rapper too. So so I get why you want to do that. When you're manic, there's if you listen to some of those recordings, it's not MCMP, right, for those who know the throwback Matt rapper persona. Right. That's like a screaming. That's like
It's just not even making sense.
It's not even sensible, exactly.
Yeah. But that's when I have the confidence to rap. So it is like a weird.
That's why there's the tie. I know, and I just don't want people to think that you talk down upon
some of the good
desire
bars.
to rap as something that is like a manic
I think
idea.
I could make some funny rap songs, and I will eventually. But
which you have also.
Thank you.
I mean, that's what Pussy Breath was.
Yeah, Pussy Breath. Fuck Tom Brady.
F Tom Brady.
Yeah,
yes. Which some of my lyrics, I was looking back at, I was like, holy Lord.
Was it intense?
Yeah, I mean, we hated Tom Brady.
Well, thank God that's
he's a weirdo though now. I felt comfortable saying that. Yeah, we knew before everybody else.
Yeah. We knew he was gonna kiss his kids.
Yeah.
I think also part of me gravitating towards hanging out with you might be this subconscious thing where I'm like, if I can trick Anthony into thinking I'm okay, everyone will think I'm okay. And I mean, you just always know. Yeah.
But I also put on that whole like, I don't know anything, right? Like, meaning that like, because I know that I was able to see right away because early on, I was just naturally the ally because we didn't have that reason to conflict like the other people in that moment.
Yeah.
I was able to see how quickly you would just 180 on somebody.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, all right, I just can't even let him know that I think he's even manic right now.
Sure.
Like, I have to just act like it is just what it is. Somewhat go along with it when you have an idea. And then based on my natural personality of me not being a straight up go with the flow guy, it didn't really feel weird to you when I was sometimes like, nah, I just don't want to do that thing. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna maybe do this. And like, it wasn't like controlling you.
No,
It was like, I just want to do this. Maybe we should do this.
Yeah. And it works.
Which is like kind of like, in an interesting way, like, I would just relate it to like when I'm with my like little cousins or like a toddler, right? Like, it's like, they think they're deceiving you, and you think you're deceiving them, and honestly, both times it's happening both ways, right? There's tons of times, and not, you know what I mean? Because
it's a great analogy.
You know, because you're not in your. That's just my best relation to it from what in my experience, right? Like,
I think I'm getting over on you.
Exactly.
And you are helping me.
Well, exactly. But that was a moment. But I want you to know though that for me, there has been like literally zero amount of like love lost amongst the process. Like literally, like there's no the fact that I could be there for you is awesome. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not even a frustration.
Yeah.
It's frustrating that you have to deal with it for me. Like, I'm like, damn, bro, like, that sucks that Matt has to deal with that shit. Like, but I've gotten way past any of like that initial first time of like, oh man, like, what is this impact on me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, as well. But you're doing awesome, by the way. And
Thank you,
I don't mean that in a fucking patronizing way. I hate saying shit like that. Like, but you know what I mean? Just like, you're doing, like, just to see the difference in how you're handling it and how you see yourself and the world, like, kudos.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much, man. You have gotten me through some really rough times, and I don't know what I would have done in some of those if I hit you up and you don't answer, in some of those times, where do I go?
I was about to drop a name and just to make a joke and to lighten the mood, and that was just such a silly idea. No, but I love you, dude. I love you. Yeah, of course. I mean, you would have figured it out because you are you. But at the same time, I'm glad that I could be there at all, if anything. One thing I would just say, not as like a conclusion point, but just one thing I would say to conclude that particular part of the conversation, is that anybody who feels like immediately I started going to the internet for resources, but at that time there really still wasn't even that much, right? And so now I'm hoping there's more. but really just try to do the research as well on something for your friend, right? Because I remember in that moment, like, how are you going to be looking that stuff up, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're still even just dealing with it. I remember just being like, if I could just understand just a little, and going back to the fact that we were literally learning about brain injuries and stuff, but had nothing, there was no info yet that was talking about that aspect of it when we were doing all that different type of, I mean, obviously there was research, but it didn't cross over. So just, I would say, like, don't shy away from learning more about it if you can. And I know that sounds obvious, but it helped me just, like, be able to just be there a little bit more.
I don't think that sounds obvious at all. I think that's, such good advice. I think people are so quick to write someone off, and that's not really what real friends do, If you really love somebody and care about someone, you love them for who they are and whatever brain disorder or, mood disorder or whatever they have. So, yeah, learning about it is so important. And we've dropped some, links before on websites and stuff that Dr. Nierenberg gave us. I don't know if you checked those out. Really insightful stuff, man.
That dude is smart.
He's
man.
so cool.
I was like, my interview is not going to be that smart. Like, I think I'm a smart guy, but that's a smart guy.
No, that's like a smart guy. Literally a neurosurgeon or whatever. Not surgeon, but scientist.
Yeah.
Do the research. I think that's so important. And, just having the conversations and it's hopefully, little things like this help. And how are we doing on time? What do we got?
37 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Nice. I was actually a little jealous that your dad got to talk about soccer.
You want to talk about soccer?
Yeah, I'd like to just do a little soccer.
All right, talk about soccer. What do you got?
Well, shout out to Napoli.
Yeah,
obviously.
Shout out to Napoli.
How's your team doing?
Who's my team? I don't really have a team.
Yeah,
I just root for Croatians.
Right. Yeah.
Whichever.
So.
Real Madrid.
Yeah. Okay.
Modric.
Nice. Yeah. So you're a Napoli fan then, I think is what you're saying, because you don't have a Serie A team. Yes. I don't know if we have a Croatian at this point, but
100% I'm a Napoli fan.
Okay,
for
Serie
you.
A. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
They haven't always been in Serie A, right? They were like...
No, Napoli's been there for a while. Okay. Yeah. Cool. We haven't been good for a long time though, right? And so since like the Maradona age, he was on Napoli, and then now we're coming back. We got Insigne with his tiragita style, the curve kick.
Okay.
We got some good players. But also shout out to the Italia squad for winning the Euro. I think we're going to win. Unfortunately, I think we're going to win the World Cup, so it won't be there for Croatia.
I mean, we haven't even qualified yet, so we have a game against Russia, and then I forget who the second game is. We have to win both, so like outright qualify. Otherwise, there's like that weird playoff, and who knows what's going to happen.
I mean, I barely have the right to talk shit. We didn't make the last World Cup, so
right. So, you won the Euro. That was awesome.
That was awesome. I was in Italy for that. That was pretty incredible. Speaking of mental health, oh my goodness. So I've obviously not experienced. I've obviously had my own bouts with mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
Not quite bipolar, but there's something to be said about, the fact that we were both entrepreneurs and going so hard in the paint all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know if there's something to be said about what the triggering of, the onset of when you become that first episode. I don't know, if there's science behind it that we're that
caffeine.
Right. So that stuff could contribute.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, those are all triggers.
Right. And so just saying that relates to, a couple of years later, I was working at a startup. We created this app, me and some friends, raised some money, went out to LA, was doing a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Doing great.
But was drinking like 6 cups of coffee a day, not sleeping, eating like peanut butter and jelly just to like get through pizza slices. And I got so stressed out and just so much focused on work.
I remember this. You got fucking shingles.
I got shingles, dude.
Yeah.
Which
At 25?
25, yeah, 27 maybe,
27?
yeah. But
Yeah.
you're not supposed to get them until you're like 60. And so I didn't even know what it was. I literally, the first couple days, I thought I pulled a muscle because I was just like running up the hills because I was living in the hills in LA.
Yeah, I remember. That was a nice house.
Yeah, that was a nice house.
Fun. That was cool.
And so, but it goes to show you could have a house in the hills with 8 bedrooms and an elevator. But if you don't focus on yourself, like literally, I ended up losing it because I got those shingles and you don't know there's shingles in the beginning, and if people who don't know about shingles, it actually is neurological, and so it does affect your mood. And so I'm in there screaming at all the people that are working for me and working with me because whenever something wouldn't get done, all of a sudden I would just be screaming. And I remember I went to the hospital and they had diet. And here's a tip: when you go to the hospital, don't tell them what you think it is, because unfortunately sometimes doctors will just run with it. I was like, I think I pulled my hamstring, and they took a look, they were like, all right, yeah, just rest it up, ice. And so then I go back a couple days later and they're like, actually no, you got shingles, and that pain was from shingles. So
whoops.
Yeah.
Not even close, doc.
Not even close. And so
WebMD will fuck your shit up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. When I say like do research for things, just be careful about how you do that too, because do it for when like I don't know how, but yeah, it's a fine line. But just to say, like, I think that it's so critical for anybody that wants to be mindful of their mental health, which should be everybody. Right? Great point. That no matter what, like, and I was clearly doing the things to get the things, but you can never appreciate them if you don't have that. And it was the first time in my life that my mental health also affected my physical health, because then it was not just me screaming, then it was me not being able to get out of bed and in severe pain. Paralyzed. Right? And so like that's, I wanted to move back to New York eventually anyway, but I moved back to New York way earlier than I wanted to, got stuck with a bunch of bills, and it could have all been avoided, right? And so now my life is very, very different. I moved to Italy for the summer because I was able to work remotely, and I noticed that by the end of that trip, even though I was like still working and doing a bunch, because of the like lifestyle that was kind of given, and so I literally think I like added 2-3 years to my life just in those 4 months of living that more chill lifestyle combined with getting after it, you know?
Yeah, it's still working.
So I'm trying to bring that back to New York City. And, I'm trying to be like, what did I do? Oh, I actually took 15 minutes to go get fresh groceries every day. So I was eating a little bit better.
Let's do that in New York.
I wasn't eating at 11 p.m. because there weren't places to get food. So even though I can order pizza at 11 p.m., maybe I shouldn't, and there's just these little things though that I'm trying to do every day because it's an ongoing thing. But that's just the
mental illness and mental health are different, obviously. But it's, even if you aren't mentally ill, you have to take care of your mental health. It's just part of what it is. And I love that people are, TikTok is really, driving this discussion, which I think is beautiful. I think things like this, let's talk about it. Let's ask people how they're doing. When you say, how are you doing? Let's be honest.
Because I am guilty of the how you doing, keep walking. I think I just ask and I don't really.
Yeah, and people don't want to tell, you're kind of a damper at a party. If someone asks you how you're doing, you say, I'm fucking depressed. I'm really not doing well.
Right.
No one wants to hear that. People are like, oh, that guy's weird. Why did he open up to me about that?
That's a great point. But at the same time, I'm reflecting on the last time somebody actually said they weren't as like perfect, or, they like, and I remember being like, somewhat like relieved too that like, oh yeah, someone's like, being open and honest, because it's not like they were like, oh my god, life is terrible, but they were like kind of just a little honest about like, things aren't the best right now, but I'm trying to get through it. Trying to get through it. And I just remember being like,
respect,
I respect that. But like you said, we don't want to put the burden on. We think we don't want to put the burden on people.
You just met somebody, you're gonna tell them, fucking crazy.
Yeah, I just won't say that word.
I said crazy again?
You said crazy.
this whole podcast is gonna get taken down.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. We did the Liquid Lightning talks like way before like saying things could get like hurt you. Oh, you know? So that's very interesting to think
maybe it's
about.
better they weren't podcasts.
Yeah, maybe it's better they weren't podcasts. No, I mean, because it's also just like the evolution of jokes, right? I remember like you grew up in Queens, so you grew up in one of the most diverse areas. So you have jokes about all different cultures, which you're arguably one of the least racist people that I know, right? And so, right, yeah, shout out to Matt. But like the fact that some of those jokes these days could be misconstrued 100%, is interesting too.
Yeah, doing characters, you're not allowed to do characters anymore.
No, it is interesting. And I think it's all for good. Like I think the direction society is going of holding people accountable is essential and important, right? Yeah. So I'm not one of those guys that's like complaining, you can't say anything anymore these days.
No, but jokes have changed.
It is interesting for comedians. I imagine like that idea of just someone maybe assuming you might be away because you made a joke. And obviously Dave Chappelle reflects on this like masterfully.
Comedy has changed in a, obviously that's all anybody's really talking about on these podcasts. And I don't think I have like a new or interesting take on like all of it. I'm still processing it. But I love, crowds getting a little tight when I can feel people pulling back a little bit, and then you hit them with a punch and it's like, we're laughing, we're having a good time. That's part of what comedy is like building tension and then releasing it. And I think we were young, and like maybe I did some stupid characters, and if people found them and were offended by them, like, I would have to, understand that and apologize or not apologize or,
But that's why I don't know, right? Because it's someone will be affected. Like I don't think you push lines like that were that crazy. Like you know what I mean? But like you said, someone might get offended by it. So I think that's why I mentioned it, because it really toes that line of where like. Someone's might get offended, 100%. But someone's going to get offended by anything.
Everything, exactly.
So for your particular offensive? Case, it's tough to call that line, right?
Yeah. Like I remember one in particular was like that baseball character where I was just doing an accent of a baseball player that, just won a game, and it was very basic, like, all those interviews are very similar, and that was the joke.
That was the joke.
But I did an accent and I was wearing a wig, and like if people found that, for sure, they'd be like, "You're not Hispanic. You're not allowed to do that accent." And I'd be like, "Okay, fair."
Yeah,
I was 21.
No, exactly. We're like, yes, exactly. Like, does it perpetuate bad stereotypes? Sure. Yes, right? Exactly.
But are we going to break down every joke to that now? Like, that's also nowhere to live either. I think.
For sure.
I wasn't doing it to offend people. I was trying to get some laughs, and people laughed. So who knows?
No, definitely, exactly. I mean, a lot of people were offended by "fuck Tom Brady." That's for sure.
Oh my God, the YouTube comments on that video were brutal.
And the people who thought we were like a
rappers,
real group, putting that out too.
That was the most fun. Like you're. Oh my God, I wish we had screenshots of that stuff. People were coming for us hard. People love Tom Brady, dude.
So much.
Yeah, not us.
So much. But yeah, man, it's a journey. Life is a journey.
And I'm trying to enjoy the ride, baby. That's my new fucking. I am having fun on this struggle. It is what it is. I was about to say. What does that even mean? This is the fun part. Coming up, and I've been coming up and crashing back down and coming back up and crashing back down, but I like this. Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, No, I know, and I see you've been trying to convince your girlfriend of that too. That from the broke side of it too, it works out nicely. It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. We can't take a cab home tonight, babe. But we'll walk the bridge. It's an adventure. It's romantic.
But he is on to something though, because it is about how you look at it, right? Yes. And that is very real. Like I think And yeah, you said it earlier too. You know, I agree. I agree with you. But it can be tough. It can be tough. You know. But do it, man.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're having
Walk
fun.
the bridge.
We walked the bridge once. We were that poor. We could not take a car home, so we walked the bridge. We had to get out of the cab because I only had like $13 on me, and it was the meter.
It was ticking up. You were like, "How far could I go?" I know that feeling.
The meter said like 10.50. I was like, "Okay, leave us out right here." We walked the bridge.
I feel like if you don't know that feeling, you don't deserve success.
Yeah,
you know?
mean, and I feel like everyone that is successful kind of does know that feeling. Not everybody, like, you know, there's obviously some people that were rich their whole lives and get on or whatever, but like, people think that's corny.
But how do you define success? Is success just maintaining what was already given to you? Like, you know,
that's a good point.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes. But some people argue success is just the number in your bank account.
No,
right? And so obviously we don't think that.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, that's a really important thing when it comes to mental health and creatives. Because society often does that, and if you have immigrant parents, to no fault of their own, they often have that type of mentality as well, because they're like, listen, my bank account is what survival is. But I was like, but you showed me a life in New York, and I lived around people that are pretty rich, and so I want to, you know, like do all those things. So originally you do that, but then you're broke for so long as a creative, could be a decade, could be 2 decades before something happens, that if you forget about the things you actually did, and you only look at what you currently have now, and this is a real different struggle between like remembering memory and I'm gonna say it right, I'm not a scientist, but there's like something about like your remembering memory and your living memory. And like different people build up for their remembering memory or their living memory, and it's important that your remembering memory is something that you keep nooks like for the good times, like reminding yourself of all the stuff that you've done and accomplished, so that your living memory of like what my current state is doesn't take you down. Because at any point in life you could be at a point where you're like, why am I not doing anything? Like, am I not doing anything? Why is my bank account like, what's going on? And then
I know
you
that.
know,
So real. Just staring off into the distance on the subway, like, I've never done anything.
You're like, am I terrible at everything I do?
Everything I've ever done was bad, and people are fucking around with me that I'm good. Yeah, I know.
I've literally lined my apartment now because I live by myself, so I have the it's all
shit.
stuff that I like. One is like a picture of the "I love you for your brain" hoodie, like you know, just things that remind me, like, oh yeah, you did that thing. Oh, there's that photo shoot in Italy, like oh yeah, real. Like that was a real thing. It might have been a couple years ago, but like you did that. That was real. And then when you feel that memory too, it does feel good in that moment too. So I would highly advise anybody that's still trying to get that, and even if you have been successful, that shit could happen at any moment. And so try to find a little memory bank of the good stuff that you've done.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this, man.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. Let's go to this NYCFC game, huh?
Yes.
Who are they playing?
I don't know.
We're going to Yankee Stadium to watch NYCFC
Yes, go
tonight.
NYCFC.
Yeah, I love you, buddy.
Love you too.
Give me a hug.
Yes.
Thank you, Katie, for listening to the earmuffs.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the episodes. Episode 9. Like, subscribe. We love you.
Yes. Don't like not subscribe also, like actually subscribe. You might be watching, your Matt's asking, but like subscribe to this guy's channel.
Just
like,
click. Just
come
click.
on. It's the one question.
I got a special coming out in January. It's going to be great. This channel's going to be great.
It's really good. It's like fucking amazing.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.